Changes. It's time for changes.
Time for changes.
Our city, it's time for change.
Changes.
Change begins with me.
Change begins with us.
Change begins with me.
It's time for change.
2021, and it's time to change.
Unity promotes change. It's time.
It's time for a change. Be part of the good in the world. Make that change.
My name is Nico, and I'm a former gang member of H.ABITS. I was a gang member from the time I was 12 years old up until about 23 years old. And growing up in the neighborhood, growing up, here in Greeley, at that time there was a lot of gangs here. There was a lot. We couldn't walk down the street without being harassed or four guys jumping out of a car, trying to hit you up or, start problems with you. So just me and the guys from this neighborhood, we all kind of grew up together, kind of, went to the same school and everything. We all started kind of hanging out together. And eventually, we met some older guys that were from this neighborhood, and they ended up kind of like, taking us in and showing us, hey, this is how we do things, this is how it's done. And eventually we just kind of rolled on in with them and became oldies. I chose to be a gang member for a sense of belonging as well as a sense of protection. In that lifestyle, man, I could recall a time actually here in Greeley, cruising through the park on Sunday over in Island Grove. And at one time, I think I was like 13 years old, and we got jumped by about 30 to 40 gang members, and I ended up being stabbed and having to go to the hospital, and I was just like 13 years old, So it's kind of as I said before, the gangs were, pretty out of control. As time goes on, after the stabbing, after I was stabbed, and things, escalated from there. Obviously, the first time we played with knives. The second time, and the guys that we were, the older guys that were, influencing us, they go ahead and give us weapons. They give us guns, and they're like, hey, don't come back if this thing is still full. If you're gonna take it, you're gonna use it. We ended up getting into, drugs. We ended up getting into it with a bunch of these other guys, and these are older guys, like I said, we're 13, 14 years old. I was actually selling drugs in an alleyway. And the guys that I was selling to ended up running into their rivals, and everybody started fighting in the alleyway. And I seen one of the guys that I had problems with, he got there. So then it ended up escalating from a fist fight into me getting my gun and coming outside and shooting. And what if an innocent bystander had been there? Or what if, a stray bullet had gone and hit somebody innocent, That led to me getting incarcerated for 8 years. And in that 8 years, I was only 16 years old when I, caught this case. So living that gang lifestyle, man, it took from me, I guess, like my childhood, man. I didn't have time to be a child. From the time that we moved here to Greeley to the time I caught my case, I was already felt like I was grown up, felt like I was doing adult things. So for me, it took my childhood, it took my freedom, it took 8 years of my life, and maybe more even. It took probably about 14 years, 15 years of my life, because I still, regardless of when I got out of prison, I still had to follow the rules of parole. So I still wasn't a free man. As well as taking time from me spending time with my family and building a bond with them. I think my actions affected the community greatly because, at the time I was part of the gang problem that Greeley had. I feel like I was destroying this community. That gang style is gonna lead you to two places, dead or in jail. Life is peaceful without having to look over your shoulder. In life, you don't have to be no loyal to anybody but your family. And I understand that in some parts the gangs are your family, because I felt like that at one time. But you gotta be able to distinguish who your real family is, who's really there at the end. And that's where your loyalty needs to lie. I love Greeley that it's actually gotten a lot better. It's actually changed from the last time that I was out here. And I love that, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do now, you know, without having to look over your shoulder. And I guess one of the things that I would like to see change in Greeley is the homelessness that I see. I would like to see something done about that, because I don't, you know, when I see people on the street, I just feel like, you know, it's tough to be in that situation. And I guess for me, I don't know exactly how to help them. You know, when I see them, I give them, you know, a couple $, but it's like, where does that really go? You know, if there's some other way, like, I kind of feel, and I wish I was in a position where I could ask them, what do you need to succeed? But I'm really not in that position. All I got is a resource that I can give to you, but are you gonna use it, you know? Man, my life right now is like, it's not even something that I could have ever even dreamed of. Like the mountains and everything that have been moved for me, I can't even, it's just unbelievable. You know, my life is great. You know, I was able to do things that, like I said, I never was even able to dream about. So one of the things that I've been able to do is further my education, man. And I graduated from college, from Ames Community College. I bought my house with my fiance, and I have 2 dogs now. I'm able to see my family a lot. You know, I see them as much as I can. And you know, right now, you know, when I was younger, I used to really love classic cars. You know, I used to love lowriders, still do. And right now I'm actually frame offing my Galaxy, 67 Galaxy. And that's my biggest goal right now, is to finish that car. So hopefully I can get it back out on the road soon. I'm Nico, I am part of the Change, and I'm encouraging everybody to get involved. And I encourage you to reach out and use your resources. And if you don't know the resources, ask around and you'll find us.